over me. She comes with her hypnotic dance. She holds me here with only a glance. She's over me. She's over me. And welcome. I forgot to unmute my own mic. My God, it's definitely been a weird day, but hello, everybody. Welcome to the Paranormal Portal, Bedtime Stories from Beyond. I'm your host, Brent Thomas, and we are here on this Monday night. It's Monday night. I hope you guys' Monday went okay, but we are going to have an evening of darkness tonight. It's getting darker. The winter's grip is icy cold, and the sun seems reluctant to shine. So what better way to warm up than to raise your pulse? Welcome to the Bedtime Stories. Get ready for bed. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Sorry for the awkward beginning, but yeah, I don't know. It's just been one of those days where I'm going 5 different directions, and it's hard to know, hard to keep track of everything, I guess. I just got a lot of things going on in a lot of different places, and I'm trying to keep up with it all. But here I am, and I wouldn't miss this for the world. So welcome, everybody, and welcome to the Bedtime Stories from Beyond. I see a bunch of you piling into the chat room. It's wonderful to see you all, you guys. Thank you. I love you all. It's absolutely heartwarming. And it's no wonder I love being here doing this, because every time I see those familiar faces pile into the chat room, it's like, yep, now I'm with my family. Now family's here. So good to see you guys, and thank you so much for being here. It's awesome. Wow. Dan, what? Oh my God. I almost cussed on my own show. Wow. I'm floored. That's amazing. Diana, you've got me speechless. Holy snaky. Wow. Thank you so much. I don't know what to say. I'm absolutely humbled. Wow. Holy. All right, there it goes. Whew. I had to spit that out. That's amazing. I thank you so much. That's just beautiful. You're an amazing person. All you guys are amazing, of course, but yeah, that definitely helps. Happy holidays. Wow. So anyway, guys, let's get into some stories. Oh, wow. That just floors me. It means so much when you guys do that, and I know not everybody can. I in my position, I don't know that I can, but when you guys do that, it really, I don't know, it's absolutely humbling, and I'm just so amazed. And not that it's required. Again, ladies and gentlemen, I don't want anyone to feel obligated to do that. It's certainly fantastic, but you guys just being here is fantastic too. So, but thank you so much. Wow, holy. I got to keep muting myself while I cuss, but because I want this to be a family friendly show, because there's sometimes little ears listening out there, so trying to set a good example. So first of all, we are going to get into some stories here, and I just it's just been so dark. It's been so dark. I just got done going out, bringing out the recyclables and the garbage and stuff, because at my house it's Monday night. That's garbage night, so I'm wheeling them out, and it's so dark. I get up and it's dark, and there's a little bit of sunlight, but not much. It was all overcast today. It had been snowing. It's actually kind of pretty here, but it just got me thinking. It's just such a long night in this time of year. And it's not like I didn't know this. It's not like a new revelation, but I think every year when it happens, when we reach this time of the season, I just really miss the sun so much. I really miss the light and the warmth. And, I know we got a long ways to go with this cold weather in most parts of the country. And in fact, a lot of parts of the country right now are just getting inundated with snow. And we got a huge storm apparently coming here tomorrow night. Not sure if it'll make it or not, but that's what they allege anyway. But I don't know. It's just so cold and dark out there. So I thought, well, I'll name the show tonight An Evening of Darkness, because it just seemed to resonate with me. So let's see if we can make it a little warmer and brighter here. You already have, just by you guys being here. And Diana, wow, I'm just stunned. You guys are just phenomenal. So since I was small, I've encountered different awkward situations that have no apparent explanations. For instance, I remember on one occasion where I was 5 years of age, and I used to live in a 2-room apartment with my family and my grandfather. At that time, my father used to work early in the mornings, and my mom would wake up to prepare lunch. And in one occasion, my father had to work even earlier than usual, so he woke at around 3 in the morning. And I still remember my mother was in the kitchen when I woke up to the noise she was doing with the frying pan and the dishes she was using to make my dad's lunch. I woke up and went to the kitchen, and Mom immediately spotted me and asked me, "What are you doing up?" That it was too early for me to be up, and told me to go back to bed. And I told her I didn't want to, and I wanted to help her. And she smiled and said, "Okay." Yet she later said that I couldn't help because I had no shoes on, and to just sit down on the carpet. And so I sat and waited. And I just stared at my mom. As I was talking to Mom and asking her questions on what she was doing, because it smelled so good and I was getting hungry, I had this sudden feeling that someone was looking at me while I was sitting there on the carpet close to the kitchen entrance. I turned my head to the living room, and everything was pitch black. This rush of cold air ran through my body, and I decided to just shake it off. And I turned back to see my mom, and she was almost done, and I was glad. Then, all of a sudden, I felt that same feeling, like if someone was looking at me. And I turned my head to see again and saw nothing, and everything was still dark. And then, with the moonlight, I managed to catch a glimpse of something standing in the doorway to the hall that led to the rooms and to the bathroom. I was little, but I knew that it wasn't normal. I just saw a shadow, no face, no color, just a black shadow. Now, as I'm writing this, I can still see him clearly. It was the shape of a tall person, a man, and I could even distinguish the detail of his clothing, yet nothing had color. Everything was black. I rubbed my eyes to make sure I wasn't dreaming or just seeing things, and yet when I opened them again, he was still there. I just stood there in shock and trying to figure out who this was. I mean, I assumed it was my father, and yet I discontinued this idea for the reason that my dad was chunkier than this man. This figure standing in front of me was tall and thin and seemed to have some jeans and a t-shirt. And as I was looking at him, my mother noticed me looking at something. Then she asked me, "What are you doing, honey?" And I just stood there, noticing this figure kneeling down to reach my height, yet he was still on the opposite side of me. I then responded to my mom that there was a man in the hallway, and she was still putting the finishing touches on my dad's lunch, so she didn't pay much attention, and the dark figure was there, kneeling and staring straight at me. As I stood there, looking at him, he started motioning for me to go with him. go to him. And he stretched out his right arm and with his finger signaled me to go to him. At this moment, I got kind of afraid, and it seemed to me that he was smiling, but I couldn't really tell, for all of him was just dark. But I had this feeling he was. I didn't move, and I just shouted back to my mom that this guy was telling me to go to him, and he was scaring me now. By this time, my mom said, "Who's staring at you, honey?" Excuse me. When I turned around to tell my mom and tell her that in the hallways someone was there, it must have been 1 minute or less. I looked back at the doorway and nobody was there. My mother also looked at the same time and she was like, "Look, there's nothing there." She then turns the lights on and we went to see who was there, for she assumed it was just my older brother trying to play tricks on me. And she went to the bathroom, or went to the room, and my father was finishing getting dressed. And she asked him if he was in the hallway, and he told both of us that he wasn't, that he was changing. And then she asked my brother if he had left the room, and he was unaware of the situation. And my dad responded with, "I don't understand that." Yet unaware of the situation, my dad responded with that my brother had been sleeping the whole time. Okay, so the dad answered. My mother seemed to have a worried face, and then went to my grandfather's room to see if by any chance it had been him. His door was locked, and if he would have come out, we all would have heard his door. Well, it seemed my mother didn't have any reason for what just happened, and told me to cuddle in the bed with her and go to sleep. After that, everything was forgotten. But ever since that day, I have seen more shadows and heard weird noises, and now 24, and to this day, I usually don't tell anyone what I saw or heard, but because they would just brush it off and saying, "There you go with your ghost." But I mean, kids are open, ladies and gentlemen. Kids can see these things so much easier than we can. They just don't have the layers of junk that we have. So, wow. That is just amazing. But cool story. I like that one. And, even though it wasn't really a terrifying story, it was just odd. And what is this? Is this a malevolent spirit, or is it just a shadowy spirit? Now, I assume it really wasn't a dark, evil kind of spirit, because I really believe that we just have a natural barometer. We can just feel when something is evil. We can just feel it. I don't know. I know I certainly believe I can. I mean, you just catch that weird vibe, or something's just not right. Something's off. And this kid said he saw the guy standing there for a while and then kneeling down and stretching out his hand and just kind of beckoning, "Hey, come here." And he had the feeling he was smiling. But, when he started calling him over, that's when the kid started getting uncomfortable. Like, "Wait, you're you're wanting me to get closer, and I'm not really sure what the hell you are." So that's when the kid's red flags went off. Not when he saw the creature or the being or the person, whatever it was. It was when it was beckoning to him that he became uncomfortable. Well, hell, my 3-year-old would become uncomfortable as any stranger beckoned him over too. And it doesn't have anything to do with that being dark or evil. So, I don't know. I just think it was somebody that was there, happened to be passing through. And I found that was interesting what Jeffrey was saying, and that's been a theory of mine as well. So it was neat to hear him corroborate that some spirits will haunt several houses in a night. They'll stop through several houses in a night. They're not, just because you have experiences there doesn't mean that's where it's staying. I think that's really interesting. So, but cool story. So the question is, where are they staying? And I don't know. That's the weird thing. Do they have to have an earthly spot where they stay? Or maybe they just always wander, day and night. Who knows? All right, getting home from my cousin's house, I went straight to my room to talk on the phone. I was cleaning out my closet when I felt this weird presence. So I turned around and I found one of my collectibles, my little pony dolls, floating up in the air. Then it floated across the room and smashes itself into my wall. Somebody's not real fond of ponies. I was so surprised that I ran downstairs screaming for my dad. A couple of months went by without having any repeats of that incident, but all of a sudden, every night, starting at about 11 o'clock until about 3 a.m., I started hearing these weird noises. I would hear footsteps coming up and down the stairs, and then it's running sounds, and then it sounds like it crashes into something out there because all you hear is a big thud. I'll be in my room changing the voicemail on my cell phone, and when I replay it, I can hear voices in the background trying to talk to me, telling me to get out of their house. Ugh. Later on, me and my cousin got out of school early one day and went to the house to have a bite to eat. So we were in my room, and we all heard someone open the door downstairs and start walking up the stairs. Since I have a dog, it started freaking out for absolutely no reason. Well, maybe it's freaked out because it heard the steps too. It started barking a lot, but its bark sounded as if it was crying of fear. Then it yelped as if someone had hit it. Ooh. The footsteps reached my door and started trying to get into my room, but couldn't because my door was locked. All of us saw my door handle moving around, and we heard this low, eerie whistle. When my cousin used her cell phone to call her boyfriend to come pick us up, while the call was connecting, a voice showed up telling us to leave now, get out of their house. We just hung up. The house got really cold, even though the heater was on, and we called her boyfriend one more time, and he answered, and we asked him to come pick us up, and he did, and we both went running down the stairs, and we passed a room, and my cat was in there with his tail all puffed up. We tried getting out of the house, but the door wouldn't open. Finally, it did open, and we left. So far, there are still weird noises, and we are in the process of getting our house blessed, hoping that this unwanted presence finally leaves our house. Yeah, that's tough. That's a tough one. For some reason, this being is very territorial about this house, and it definitely is not a good situation. I think it's, I know Jeffrey's not a big fan of living in concert with things. That kind of stuff doesn't bother me, and maybe it's because for so many years I have lived around what I believe were spiritual presences. So it really doesn't bother me that they might be there. I don't know. I just kind of consider them a roommate, but I understand what he's saying when he was on the show and said, you don't know who these people are. You don't want them in your house, and that's true. But I don't know. I really just trust my intuition, and if I feel like something's dark, I'll sage and do frankincense and go through the house doing blessings and different things like that to push it out. And I haven't had any problems after that. But if something doesn't feel that dark, horrible feeling, like that residue feeling, then it doesn't bother me, because it's like, okay, we can come to terms with this. This is not a malevolent spirit. It's just a spirit that's here. So, that's when I just state what I'm okay with and what I'm not okay with. And if they're willing to live there under those circumstances, that's great. So, and I really haven't had many problems. I don't believe I have. I've had a lot of experiences, but again, not a lot of problems. But again, I think it's really important, whether or not you like to live with them or not, if you're okay with it, just lay down your rules. Claim your space, claim your home. And if they want to be in it, great. If they don't want to be in it because they can't abide by those rules, then they got to get the hell out. That's just it. So anyway, but very cool story again. All right, here's another one. This one's not real long, but this happened just last night. And this is still 2007, so it wasn't just last night, but it started around 8 or 8:30 at night, and my other half had just dozed off and started snoring while laying on the couch asleep. My 13-year-old son and I had just begun watching a show called The Hollow, Halllow. Excuse me. All of a sudden, we began hearing knocks that were like someone was hitting a piece of wood or a board, and by spacing the knocks out about 2 or 3 seconds apart. We both jumped and looked at each other and started laughing. About 5 minutes later, talking it over, we returned to watching our movie. After about 15 minutes, I felt the urge to go to the bathroom, and I took care of my business, and upon coming back to the living room, suddenly we heard a noise from behind me in the bathroom where I'd just come from. Okay, that's creepy. My son just looked at me so seriously and said, "Just think you were in there with that." Of course, after checking that out and finding nothing, I felt loads of cold chills. About an hour later, I was returning to the scene of the crime, and I just got out of my chair, made a quick left to return to the bathroom, when my son let out a drawn-out "ooh." I quickly turned back around to see what was happening when he asked, "Did you see that?" I asked what he saw, and he described a fluorescent orb the size of a softball. Later, I see a smaller one, the size of about a quarter, with a tail streaming behind it. This all went on for several hours and then just stopped as suddenly as it had started. The reason I called this once hit is about 3 months ago, my son was sleeping on the couch, and when he comes running into our room saying, "Mom, come here now," and he said he had covered his head because of noises that was suddenly hit really hard on the arm and had a sudden bruise to prove it. So that sounds pretty well. I mean, if it's striking somebody, that's extraordinarily aggressive, and that's not good. Still not good. So that one would would definitely be qualified to get the hell out. The next one is, once I lived in this house in a small town in Maine. It was an older house, and I don't know any of the history of the house, but I most likely never will either. But it was an older house, and we had a basement and 4 rooms. The usual old house style. The kitchen is where most of the abnormal activities would take place. Our front door had an entrance. Okay. With another door, a heavy wooded door, and a glass window. The way the door sat, you would have to push hard to open it, and then you would be in a small porch type which led to the front door. Quite often the front door would swing open, but yet the outside door would remain closed. You could sit in the living room and watch our kitchen light turn on and off. The kitchen light we had was an old-fashioned one. It had a fluorescent bulb with a metal pull string, and once you pulled the string, it came on. Well, my mom put a piece of yarn on to the metal string so us kids could reach it, and you could actually watch that string being pulled. This happened every night, and we got used to it pretty quickly. Wow, wow, that's pretty profound. And I always assumed that the presence was an old lady, and so did my family. We have no idea why, we just felt like it was an old lady. Us kids would go to bed with our windows open and our blankets off because in the middle of the summer, it gets really hot, and when we wake up, our windows would be closed and bundled up in blankets. And now, we had talked to my parents about it often, and they said that we were at that age, so they didn't even need to really check on us. And so it wasn't my parents, and we were never frightened by any of this. It all became normal, even to our friends. But one day, I'll never forget any of this. My mom went to go turn on the kitchen light with the yarn on the end of it, and she went to turn it on, and she was shocked so bad it dropped her to her knees. I really am not sure, but I am almost positive that you cannot get electrocuted by yarn. A while after that, we moved. We just figured that she liked to play with us, and it seemed like she liked to tease us. What a great joke. I'm going to electrocute you until you're on your knees. That's not really funny, is it? Hey. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the last one for tonight. Well, maybe not. I don't know. We still got plenty of time left. We'll see what happens. But when I was a little girl, I had an imaginary friend, like most little girls do, and I called her Gina. We would play together and have fun, and my mother never thought anything about it, as her friends' children had imaginary friends too. But as I got into kindergarten and started getting more friends, I decided I didn't need her anymore. I remember telling her to leave, but she wouldn't. I would get so upset and tell my mother, and my mom would tell me to tell her to leave. But if she wouldn't, she would come up herself and tell her to leave. I went upstairs to tell her, and I don't remember what I said exactly, but I knew she didn't leave. My mom came upstairs and told her to leave, but I told her she didn't. My mom just tucked me into bed, and told me we would do it again tomorrow. She bugged me the whole night, keeping me up. I was so angry. Finally, after I ignored her, she left, and I was very happy and relieved. When I turned 18, I flew over to England to see my grandmother and other family. And I was looking through one of my aunt's old family albums and came across this picture of this little girl. She looked really familiar, like I'd seen her before. I asked my aunt who she was, and she told me it was her cousin, who had died at the age of only 8 years old. I asked her name, and she said, Eugenia. I was startled. I told her of my imaginary friend I had and how I called her Gina. My family is very spiritual and said it was probably her cousin visiting me. When I returned to the States, I told my sister I didn't live with her when I was little because she lived with her father, and she said she had one, and she called her Gigi. And I also told my cousin, and she had one who she called Boo, or EU. I guess EU? I don't know how you pronounce EU, but we believe it was the same little girl who just wanted to meet us and play with us. We don't think it was a bad thing. And when we think back, we realize it was a family member who just wanted to meet us. That's kind of a sweet story. I think it's adorable. I don't know. I think it's pretty incredible when children can interact. They can have relationships to such a degree, to have conversations, to interact on such a profound level that to them, these imaginary children are real children. And perhaps they really are spiritually real. And they are just manifest that much more for children. I really envy that vision, that sight. That to me is just, has to be profound. I think it would be such a profound gift to be able to walk into a place, see the normal people, see the normal things, but also see the spiritual things. To me, that would be absolutely amazing. I just think that's so incredibly powerful. And if you could have that dialogue with these spiritual beings and share ideas and share thoughts and hear, what their experience is, to me, that would just be so profound, so absolutely amazing. So to all you psychics out there, I'm very envious. That's an incredible gift. I realize sometimes psychics say, well, they're not, willing to talk about the, certain things, and that's fine. I understand. And maybe it's because we're not ready for it, or we just wouldn't understand it if they tried. But I don't know, that whole idea of sharing thoughts and sharing, knowledge between, two very different states of being is just incredible. And maybe they give you the lottery numbers too. Hey, look ahead, because time doesn't really exist for the spiritual realm. So maybe they could look ahead and see what the lottery numbers are. I'm just saying, that'd be really cool. Like some ancestor of mine that wants to, make sure I'm okay. That would be a great idea. So I'm just seeing what's going on there. Harmony, hello. I don't remember meeting you before, but welcome to the show. Just looking at everybody in the chat room. Of course, we got Haxer, Harmony, Ken's in there, Deb, Lady Death, Diana, of course, and Dory. Hi, Dory. Good to see you. Let's see, is there anybody else? Lena, how you doing, Lena? I'm just going through the list, trying to see who's been chatting and what people are saying here. I'm not reading the chats, actually. I'm just looking through the names. Kurt, how you doing, Kurt? Good to see you. That's really cool. Renee, I don't know if I already said Renee or not, but Renee. And Renee, I don't remember seeing you the last couple shows, so it's good to see you again. And if I missed you, I'm really sorry. And you were here, but Hillary Matthews. Hi, Hillary. Good to see you. Thanks for coming in and being a part of this. Silex, good to see you. That's cool. Lewis. How are you doing? Oh, Black Tree. Julia. How you doing, Julia? Looking forward to that fudge. That's all I'm saying. Sean's in here. How you doing, Sean? Ian's Magic Oak. Sean, he's a great friend of the show as well and has been extraordinarily helpful with people dealing with dark things. And Sean, it'd be kind of neat to get you and Jeffrey in touch. Let me know. Email me if you're up for that, because I think you guys could probably have some really cool conversations, and sharing insights would be pretty profound, I would imagine. Keeping on going here. I'm going through the list. Yeah, you guys are having all kinds of conversation. I wish I could do this and see everything you guys are saying. Oh, MCAT, how you doing, brother? Hope the road's safe. Be safe out there. I know MCAT's always all over the states all the time, but it's a real honor he listens to us regularly. Yeah, that's... Oh, Nellie. Nellie, how you doing? I hope you're still there. Looks like you were here at the beginning of the show. But if I've missed anybody, I'm really sorry. I'm just cruising through the list here, and it looks like I went all the way through the show chat. And I hope I've said everybody that's been chatting. But if you're in here and I didn't mention your name, give me a shout out so that I can see. And make sure. Oh, Bella, how you doing? Good to see you. Thanks for being here and being a part of the show. Yeah, there they are. Gemini's in here? Okay. Is Gemini got a different name now, or is Gemini in here as Gemini? It's good to see you, Dory. We've missed you. If you're the same Dory, yeah. Yeah, that's Dory. Good to see you. That's really cool. It's wonderful when everybody comes together. Oh, Ruthie, how you doing, Ruthie? And I think that's everybody, right? But if if you're in there, just say hello in the chat quick, because I'm about to wrap the show up. But I'd like to thank you all for being here. And I can't do it every show because it just depends on the time and what's going on. But it's just as we get closer to the holidays, I'm just getting this love vibe cooking, and of course, you guys are a big part of that love. So just thank you all for making the portal part of your day and part of your world and life. Good to see you, Ruthie. Love the waves and rainbows. That's awesome. Oh, Gemini, Libra. Hi, Gemini. I'm Libra. Oh, okay. We're going through astrology, I guess. Awesome. Oh, good. Well, you are Love Dory, of course. Yeah, you've been a big part of the show for a long time, and Don and I have been asking about you for a while. I hope Dan gave you our hellos and sends our love for the holiday, Thanksgiving time. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely anytime any of you guys aren't here that are it really affects us. We're always looking for these names that we've just come to know and love, and when you guys aren't here, it's just like where is that person? What happened? So. It's always great to see you guys showing up again. And Harmony, I guess you're new, but it's really cool that you found us, and thank you so much. And anybody else that's new that I mentioned before, it's just really cool to meet these new names and faces. And yeah, we all love everybody here. That's the thing. It's really a family. We've really got a cool family going here. And I mean that sincerely. I realize it sounds kind of maybe corny and cheesy, but honest to God, you guys are a huge part of every one of my days, and I know Don feels the same way. We're just really, really proud and pleased and honored to be doing this and to be, touching so many of your lives, and you guys are touching our lives, and it's just absolutely incredible. You're not new? I'm sorry. Have you not been here for a while? I don't know. I'm sorry. I have a dyslexia for names anyway, and I've said that many times on the show. So it's not just a silly excuse. It's honestly the truth. But I don't remember seeing your name. But if you've been here before, welcome back. Sorry. It's new to me. It's a new name to me. But then again, you could come back tomorrow and I'd think you're new. You never know. All right. But I love you all. Thank you guys for being here. And I'm absolutely thrilled to always be doing these bedtime stories with you guys. But I, of course, will be back tomorrow night for another version of this. Diana, once again, my God, thank you. That was really freaking amazing. And it's not necessary, but my God, it's just so amazing. Thank you. That really helps. It's not cheap to do this, do these shows. It's been a labor of love, but it's also an expensive labor in some ways. So this is it really means a lot. So you guys are absolutely amazing. One more. All right, Ruthie, since you asked, I can't hardly deny that. All right, let me find another one quick here. Let's see what we can do. Ooh, this one sounds kind of cool. A dream that led me to an angry spirit, it says. Yeah, it's not too long. All right, I'll read this to you guys because just got all this love pumping. So let's keep going. About 2 weeks ago, and this again is from 2007. So when it says last night or whatever, these stories are old, but I love all of these stories, so they don't have to have happened last week to be relevant. Oh, excuse me. I had to get a drink. Since we're going into overtime here, gotta wet the whistle. About 2 weeks ago, I had a dream that my daughter and I and my husband were in a house that we had apparently purchased. I might add that we weren't really looking to buy, and I was on the way back to the back. I was on the back patio, rather, to this old lady. In my dream, I was on the back patio, talking to this old lady. And in my dream, I knew that she was a spirit, but a really nice one. When I explained that I was moving in, she no longer was in a present state where I could see her, and she was angry, and I would yell at her to not throw things. She was very angry and threw a Christmas pine tree on my daughter. The doorbell rang, and so I answered it, and there were 3 men at the door with my cell phone and keys. The side of the house was beautiful brick pavers, and pine trees lined the walk. I asked the men, "Where did you get my phone?" And they replied, "Down the block." My phone was broke, only the screen was intact, and I knew I left it in the back patio area, and I hit the picture button on the phone to discover the horrible old lady's picture on it. This woke me up. The next night, I went to bed and had another dream. We purchased a house, and in the bedroom, there was a horrible entity that I couldn't see, only feel. And when I walked into the room, it would hold me back. Again, I woke up in an absolute sweat. 2 days later, my husband received a phone call and had been secretly trying to surprise me about getting a mortgage to purchase a home. I was so taken back. I told him about my dreams, and for the next couple of days, I went looking for houses in historical Phoenix. I always loved the architecture, and we looked at about 75 houses, but nothing really hit me. The day I went on my own, I was looking for a particular house and got lost. Going down the street, there was a speed bump, so I slowed down, and on the right-hand side, there was an old lady sitting in the middle of a wet, empty lot, petting a cat. My first thought was, oh, she's homeless. But why is she sitting in the middle of a dirt lot? To my left was a beautiful pink abandoned Victorian house. Wow, I thought. A Victorian house in the middle of Phoenix? I wondered if it was for sale, and the gate was locked, so I climbed over, and going down the side of the house, there was pine trees and a brick walk. And when I got to the other side, I felt an uneasy feeling, really hard to explain. I felt really ill and scared, not remembering any of my dreams at this time. I started talking to the house. "Okay, I'm leaving. I just wanted to see how beautiful you were." Running in my slippers out of the yard. Across the street next to the empty lot, there was 3 men. And I asked them if they knew about the house, and he replied, "It's been empty for over 20 years. I asked if it was for sale, and he said, "Nope. The old man lives down the block and occasionally comes up to hang a keep out sign." And I replied that it was strange, and I was writing him a letter to leave in the mailbox, and I told him of my interest and about the feeling I experienced and to please call me. Later on that day, my mother told me that my dreams had come true and to stay away from there. I brought my daughter back with me so I could take some pictures with my cell phone. Well, when I sent it to my computer, there she was, clear as a bell, the woman in the second floor window. Going to bed that night, of course, my mind was thinking, so in the next dream, I was in a pink Victorian house, and I kept tripping over this old lady with long hair, and she kept replying again, "Next week." Then I woke up, wondering what does next week hold for me? And that's the whole story. I don't know. It's kind of a cliffhanger. I wish there was something about the next week now. But interesting story. And of course, dream premonitions are not unusual. Some people have very profound premonitions in their dreams. Oftentimes, that's when we're the most open. So a lot of things will come to us in our dream states because we are most receptive in that REM state or in that dream state. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you've enjoyed this extended version of the show. Again, I love you all. Thank you so much for being here, being a part of the show, and I'll be back again tomorrow night for more of this paranormal portal mayhem that we so love. But thank you all for being here and being a part of it, and I hope you guys have a wonderful night and a great day tomorrow. And I'll see you at the same time, 7 p.m. Pacific, right here on our YouTube channel. So take care, be good, and love you all. Be kind, be nice, and I'll see you tomorrow night.